Hi, intuitive viewers. How's it going? Look, I want to show you that little, look at that little monkey down there. Little Oshi. She's trying to find a place to sit. So I hope everyone's doing well. I'm just kind of hanging out on Mother's Day. I got to see my mom this week, which was good. It was hard. It's just hard seeing your parents get older and with they're not having a hard time. It's hard to experience, but I'm grateful to have her here and be able to spend time with her. And she's still very much herself, so that's good. I missed Cassie today, but I thought I would spend it with you guys a little bit and just say hi. How's it going? But I did get to talk to Cassie, and she's doing good. So yeah, so that's that. And last year I remember thinking I never want to spend another Mother's Day without Cassie, and then here I am again. So hopefully next year will be different. So anyway, fingers crossed. So all right, so I wanted to talk today about well, real quick before I get to that. So we're doing these classes with Debbie that are the Intuitive Circle, and we had a 2-day glitch on signing up, and people couldn't sign up for the May class, which starts Tuesday. So a lot of people were flipped over to the June or July. Because of that, we have some space in this class coming up, and it starts Tuesday. So if you are interested, please go get a spot. Don't send me an email afterwards and say, I wanted to do this class. I'm letting you know there's still spots. So if you want one, it starts this Tuesday. Go get one. We'd love to have you there. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. But strangely enough, at least it's strange to me because I have no interest in this person at all, and yet I wanted to talk about him today. Elon Musk. So the way it came about was we were watching Saturday Night Live, and he was the host. And before he came out, I said to my husband, I'm like, who is Elon Musk? What is his deal? What does he do? I keep hearing his name and more now than ever. And I said, what does he do? And he said, well, he's the head of, or he invented Tesla. He's the head of Tesla. And he's also really connected to like these missions to space and really interested in the space program. And I was like, okay, don't tell me anything else. So I want to see what I pick up on him when I watch the show. And the very beginning, he talks about the fact that he has Asperger's, and which was something that when he walked out, I said to my husband, well, he's on the spectrum, because I could just tell just from my experience as a teacher. I could just tell. I said, well, he's on the spectrum. And then he said he had Asperger's. So that was that. But some other things came through which were really interesting and kind of weird. So I just wanted to share them with you. One thing was that he has a real like Howard Hughes vibe to me, but not in the way that you would think. To me, it's more that really, really obsessive way, and that like kind of zeroed in kind of obsessiveness is one way I would describe the way I feel like he's kind of like Howard Hughes that way. I do feel like his whole life, people have really, so what I was going to say was that, I guess he's gotten in trouble for saying some things online or something. And I don't actually know what it was, but I know that they mentioned it. So I know there's something about that. But I felt like that's going to keep happening because to me, he's not a mean person. I don't feel like he's like Trump. I don't feel like he's like that kind of mean, icky human being. I don't feel like that. I feel like he's very actually does have good intentions. And I feel like his emotion, there's a part of him emotionally, and my guides were saying it's somewhere like, I want to say like it's in the middle of the brain or something, but it's like it's undeveloped, or it's not as developed, and it's something to do with like emotional maturity, but kind of like being able to like see, like if I mean, a crude example would be like if I cheated on my wife, I'm sure she'd be okay with it because she wants me to be happy. But it's like it's almost like he can't see like, oh, that would make her mad, and then she'd be jealous, and then she would trust me, and it's almost like he can't make those connections. It's all kind of, it's a bit self-centered and kind of childish in a way. So I felt like that's part of him. Um, and then he has this other part that's this massive intellect, just super be off, off the charts bright, clearly. Um, but so there's this kind of duality, this weird dance going on. And so I felt like he's going to put his foot in his mouth a lot, just in his life, in his career, whatever. Um, the other weird things though, with that, I saw that, like, I felt like from an early age, everybody always gave in to his obsessive ways. So, for example, as a young kid, they thought, oh, there's something here. I mean, he's going to invent something. He's going to do something. So if he wants to work for 10 hours on, breaking open rocks, we need to let him, and we'll all, tiptoe around so he can do this thing. It like that. So I feel like there's this kind of world of revolving around him from an early age because of his intellect. And so I feel like he's gotten used to that. So it's kind of like he will like neglect people or things when he gets into something, and that can be a problem. That could be a problem going forward. But there's nothing, to me, there's no like meanness to it, or a mean kind of selfishness. It's just like, oh yeah, this is what people do. If I'm working on something, everybody needs to go away, that kind of thing. That's just how he's always rolled, and that's the way his people have surrounded him. So that's what I picked up on that. So I also picked up, which is weird, that early on, and if you know anything about this stuff, please tell me, because it's always so validating to know, like, okay, I'm not just pulling this stuff out. There's something about, I feel like he lost someone or something, could be a pet, early. And it was like, he didn't understand why, like, so like say a grandparent passed away, and he was like, Mom, I want to talk to Grandpa so-and-so. And she was like, well, you can't because he passed away. And it didn't make sense to him. It's like, that doesn't make sense. I should be able to talk to him. And one of the reasons that is that he is going to be part of the communication with the other side scientifically. There's either going to be something he invents, that he comes across, that an invention he invents leads to something with connecting to spirit scientifically, like through like the spirit box and things like that. There's something about that. And I feel like it's something kind of like personal to him, that it almost, that experience as a young kid, it's kind of informed that he'd have something to do with this later on, because it was like, it doesn't make sense. We can't communicate anymore. That's weird. Why can't I just like see my dog? Why can't I just, and it was more than just like, I don't get it as a kid. It's like, no, we should be able to communicate. That doesn't make any sense. Why not? And it's almost that sixth sense of knowing, like, there's more, that they can't just disappear. They're still around. That kind of almost just that baseline, like, understanding that this is how it is. Of course they haven't disappeared. So there's that was weird, that came through about something about that. And I feel like that's later in his life, like he's older. I also feel like there's something about him being part of this blending of the space extraterrestrials, like the space world and all of that, and him. So there's something about them meeting, that being that him being part of that bridge building. And part of that, which was weird too, is that this is one of the only lives he's ever had on this planet. He's always been on other planets. Not that he's extraterrestrial. I don't want to get that rumor started, but that he's so immersed and connected with space, the other planets, because that's what he's always known. This is his one of, I want to say, the first, if not one of the first times here on Earth. Okay. So that's what I want to tell you about him. I just thought it was interesting. All that stuff came through with such a guy I'm like not familiar with at all, clearly. part of it is because he's so into like space stuff. Because I'm not, if I think I've told you before, I'm not like into like space stuff, ETs, da da da. I had one channel tell me, because it's like been there, done that. Like I've done like lifetimes on other planets and stuff. And it's almost like, because I believe in all of that stuff. I believe there are ETs and I believe all of this stuff, but it's not something I feel like I should be concentrated in right in this lifetime for whatever reason. It just isn't, I feel like I completely need to like turn away from it so that I'm not concentrated in that and concentrated in another area. So that's kind of, I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. I think I have, but anyway, that's something about me. And that's why it was like, I've not been interested in this guy at all, but I just found that kind of interesting. So I thought I would share that with you guys if you are interested in him. I also felt like he would either have a really long life, like to live to like 105 or something, or if it's a shorter lifetime, that he'd be right back. Like it would be like he'd be coming right back, and it would be like, oh, this guy is just like Elon Musk. How weird. It's like that. So there's something about that too, that like he has a very specific amount of time he is supposed to be here. So it's like you're going to spend 100 years on Earth, and it's like, okay, I'll do that. And it's like, so either he'll live till he's 100, or he'll go when he's earlier, then he'll come back and live like another, shorter lifetime. So that's what I got on Elon Musk. Now I thought that was kind of interesting. The other thing I wanted to tell you was that I did get something about Rudy Giuliani flipping, and that was probably going to happen sooner rather than later. It may be happening now, but there's something about him turning over stuff that Trump doesn't even know he has. Like, I feel like it's like, I want to say phone videos, but it's like something with the phone. But I know that there's that when he's all like, it's on my phone. It's something like that, but it's like something Trump doesn't even know he has. He just like pulls it out and is like, here's this stuff. It almost feels secret. Like I secretly recorded this person, or I secretly recorded this video, something like that. Okay. So that is Rudy flipping. And there's something also about money coming about him, something about money with Rudy coming out, some kind of paper trail, money trail. So I'm not sure what that is, but that just came out. So, okay. And then, yesterday morning, it was either yesterday morning or the morning before, I was watching the news. I guess it was yesterday morning. And they were talking about all of this stuff with like the big lie and the voting in Arizona and all these voting rights stripping things they're doing in all these states. And I got really felt really down. And all of a sudden, and that's how I know like a lot, this stuff, it doesn't come from me, because I know how I am and I know how I react to stuff. And I react just like you guys to stuff. And then I'll tap in and I'll be like, okay, this is what's happening. I'll get messages. So I'll know, okay, this is happening. So I was so down, and I was just like, what is wrong with these people? Why are they being like this? What will it take? And my guides were like, this is part of the process. These people have to work through this. And this is part of them working through getting past this. And so they've got to go through all of these hoops, and they've got to play it out, basically play it out in every way, shape, and form to get to a point where they're like, okay, I guess we were wrong, And I think the hard thing is that we want everybody to be Michael Cohen, right? We had that like taste of victory with Michael Cohen, because it was like, he was horrible, awful. He'd be horrible. He was Trump's right-hand man, loved him to death, thought he was the best. And then he gets caught. He flips. He goes to prison. He becomes a new man. I mean, right? That's like the dream, like for everybody, even Trump, that's our dream, right? He goes and he comes out, he's better. I did see something like that for him, but it's only one possibility. There's other possibilities for these things to play out, and it has to do with free will. People are super, super, super stubborn. It won't play out so easily. It'll be a much harder road. But so they were trying to say, I'm sorry, I need to open this for Lucy. They were telling me and trying to let me know, like, they need to they need to kind of go through this. And it's a more painful way to go through it than to just say, oh, well, I guess we lost and get on with things. But it kind of like, it needs to kind of play itself out. And this stuff going on with the Republicans, same thing. It's like it needs to play itself out. And it's going to get ugly before it gets better, because they're picking the hard way to do this. There's easier ways to do this, and they could choose those ways, right? But they're choosing this way, and so it needs to play out. The end is the same. The end is we're moving on, right? The end is this shift is happening. We are moving on. Slowly, more and more people will kind of move over to a more enlightened way of thinking, a kinder, more gentler way of being. It will happen, but there are some people that are so, think of it, and I don't want to think of like low and high, bad and good. I don't want it to be like that. It's just that they're at a certain place. And to be honest, we've probably all been there at certain lifetimes, right? We've been far less, evolved in other lifetimes than we have maybe in this one. So it's part of the process. So some people are just not there yet. They're angry, they're pissed off, they want answers as to why their life is crappy, and they thought Trump was breaking down everything so it would be better for them, and now it's not, and they're frustrated and angry. So it's like this stuff has to play out, but it's not bad and good or low and high. It's that this just is where they are. I've explained it before as like preschool and college. You don't think, well, those preschoolers are sure a lot dumber than those, college people. It's like, no, that's just where they are. It's where their development is right now. It's where they're comfortable. That's where they're comfortable. If you stuck a preschooler in a college class, they would not know what's going on, and they would not have any understanding of it. So that's what's happening. And so I think for us, and I ask this, I'm not saying from my own enlightened way of looking at things. I ask my guys, how do I look at this? Because I get so depressed and so frustrated when I'm inundated with this. What do I think? Where do I go with this? And it was like, that it's all flowing one way. So even if they pick a harder road, it's still going to be flowing one way. And the way it's flowing is enlightenment, being more enlightened, being more connected, being kinder, being gentler. And a huge shift happened during the pandemic. You could feel it. All of a sudden, people really understood not only the connection we have to each other through being related to one another, seeing each other, but that physical contact, like not being able to hug people, not being able to even handshake with people. It's been a real, it's been so jarring, and it's been such an awakening for so many people, how important connections are, and how we need them. We need connection. And also how connected we are in just the fact that if one person gets sick, another person can get sick. If this nation is still suffering, we're going to suffer too in some way, shape, or form. You see that with with the environment, right? We neglect the environment. It starts to affect other countries that are in poor communities, and then they start to start to migrate out of areas that are being so affected by climate change, because we didn't take care of it. So it's like it's all so interconnected, and then our immigration system is affected. So it's like it's so interconnected with nature, with us, with each other, and then evolving into the connection with a higher power or the spirit realm. It's all so, and to space, into outer space and all the space stuff that's being connected now. We're living in a very quickly evolving time, right? Doesn't it feel like that? Everything's just it feels like over the last 20 years, especially in like spirit connection, it's just accelerated. I mean, unbelievably so. I remember listening to Dolores Cannon, and it was like, she was saying, when I started my career, there was no like alternative bookstores, like New Age bookstores. There was none of that stuff. None of it existed. And this is like the early 60s. And she said, you might find a few books on a shelf about New Age stuff or spirit communication or something. And it was weird. It was super weird. It was like the weirdest part of the bookstore no one would ever go to or admit going to. But she's saying just in this time, it's like, it's so accepted. It's so like, oh yeah, Long Island medium, she talks to the dead all the time. It's just like accelerated in a way we could not have imagined. And it's going to keep accelerating like that more and more and more. And by the time my life ends, or I'm, in another 20 or 30 or 40 years, we're going to be at a whole nother, we may even be just using phones to, call up the spirit realm and say, hey, how are you doing? We're almost to that now, with a lot of the technology that's come out to communicate. Some of it I used in my video in the cemetery, right? Trippy, weird stuff you thought never could happen, but it's happening. So anyway, so that's what I wanted to tell you guys. That's what I was getting. And so when you find yourself being just so frustrated, and it's like, how is this ever going to end? Why can't these people stop? Just know that it needs to play out, right? It needs to play out in a certain way. And for certain people, it needs to play out in a different way, and in a much more difficult way, in a way that is going to cause them more pain, more suffering, more hardship, more anxiety, more worry, more this, more that. And we don't need to really be part of it, right? We can observe it and see that it's happening, but it doesn't mean we have to be emotionally invested in it. We can kind of drift away from it and keep going in the direction we're going, because that is the flow. That's where it's flowing. That is the way it's flowing. It is flowing into, dealing with climate change and helping the poor and helping with education and fixing our infrastructure and doing all of these things that we need to do to evolve as a society, caring for one another in a different way. That's the evolution we need to get to, right? And America has lost its ways, partly being such a rich country, having tons of, more than enough, right? It's created a different kind of monster, the monster of greed and the monster of, I don't care about you. I just want what I just want my stuff, so that's what's happening. So we're moving in the right direction. And like I say, I think that the train leaving the station is a good analogy. But I also think of it that, we still have access on the train to see what's happening back here. And we think, oh my gosh, just get it together. But that is what's happening. But just have, I guess, a deepening of your faith that it's all flowing in the right direction. It's all moving in one direction. This is an evolution. And so we are going to evolve eventually. I do want to say that there's a couple of hardcore Trumpers that in our family that got vaccinated and have come to the light on a few things. So it can happen. It will happen. So try not to go where I went yesterday morning, down in the dumps, thinking, what is going on? Stop this. That's when my guys were like, don't worry. They just have to work through this, and they have to do it. It's part of their own story, and they can do it in an easier way. They're choosing not to, so it's just got to play out. But have faith. I did also get one thing I wanted to share with you, because I was asking, again, I was down in the dumps, who are the three people, if you could pick three people that stuff is unfolding for right now, who are the three most likely to go to jail right now as far as where their story is going? And I got the names. Matt Gates, Matt Gates, Rudy Giuliani, giving suspense, and Donald Trump. Those were the three. So that's what I got. And then I also keep seeing this big trial. And when I see the big trial, it's weird because I see William Barr kind of being roasted over the coals. I don't actually see him going to jail, but I do see him being drained of money, health, things like that, like, and being his reputation, like being embarrassed. Yes, he can still be embarrassed. And I feel like it's with people he had always considered like people that really respected him, don't respect him anymore. He may even be disbarred, that kind of thing happening to him. In this trial, I also saw a big part for Jared Kushner, and I felt the same thing. I did have a dream where he was like like stopped at an airport, arrested at an airport, but I don't know if that was just like, you can't leave, you have to go through this trial, or if it's like you're being arrested. I'm not sure. That could be either one. It could be just, that could just be one way things could go down. But I did see him being a big part of this trial as well. And I feel like, and Stephen Miller too. And I feel like that it's a different kind of prison for them, a different kind of demise. And to me, it's draining of like money, reputation, standing, job, assets, things like that. It's like and health too. So that's how I saw them kind of. Prison can come in different forms, right? And in the United States, we want to see a trial and sent to prison, and they stay there, and then they turn around, they're a different person, like Michael Cohen, right? The perfect story, the perfect outcome. But there's different kinds of prison. There are different kinds of comeuppances. There's different kinds of justice, and so I feel like I need to, I'm talking about myself mainly, but that a good idea for us is to not be so constrained as there's just one kind of justice, just having a trial and going to jail. Because I feel like with all of these people, there's going to be justice, and it will be in different ways for different people. And to me, it almost feels like it's the more impactful way, how it will impact them most. And a lot of these people, they are way more concerned about their the title they have, or working in the area they are working in, or impressing certain people, or the respect of their family, or their own, or just their stuff, and their money. That could be far more devastating than sitting in a cell and then having everything when they get out. You know what I mean? So it's another way to think of it. And I hope that helps you. And I hope that when you have those moments, when you get down, we all have them. Maybe you could throw this video on and just kind of remind yourself of the things that I learned from my spirit guides. And like I said, I'm no different than you guys in the way that I'm human, and I feel I get down. Oh, little Lucy goose. She's hot today. I'm going to take her downstairs. But anyway, so I hope that helps you guys. It helped me yesterday, so I hope it helps you guys. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. I hope to see you guys in the classes on Tuesday, and then in the coming classes, I hope to see you guys there. We've had a really great response, and like I said, it's so much fun. I've absolutely loved it, so I can't complain there. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Have a good one. Talk to you soon. Bye.